Warning: if you have a fear of the ocean, I suggest not watching this video because it may increase your fears. Watch at your own risk. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Why the ocean is so terrifying. It has been confirmed by scientists that only 5% of our oceans has been explored. That fact alone is one of the main reasons why the ocean is so terrifying. The simple fact that there is so much we don't know and may never get the answers to. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands of creatures in our oceans that have not yet been discovered. We know more about outer space than we know about our own bodies of waters, which is mind-boggling. The ocean is so deep that at certain depth, the water pressures alone can become deadly for humans, literally crushing us to death. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you were to sink down to the deepest part known in the ocean, the Mariana Trench? If you haven't already been devoured on the way down by terrifying sea monsters that lives at these great depths, our bodies will literally pop like a balloon from the inside out. That is how intense the water pressures are this deep into the ocean. Even for some of our largest water mammals like sperm whales, there's a max depth that they can go before the water pressures becomes life-threatening for them.
Here's a sense of scale of how deep the ocean really is.
If Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, were to be submerged into the ocean, it would stand at 2,723 feet, which isn't even close to half of how deep the ocean is. If we were to put the tallest mountain on Earth, Mount Everest, inside the deepest part known in the ocean, the peak of the mountain will still remain underwater by 6,561 feet. Keep in mind that Mount Everest itself is 29,029 feet tall. Being 35,997 feet into the ocean is equivalent to the average flight altitude in a commercial airliner. Imagine being this high in the sky, looking out of the window, and right next to you are clouds. That is how deep 35,997 feet looks in the ocean, except it is 1,000,000 times scarier because at this point in the water, you will be in total darkness where no light from the sun is obtainable and where frightening alien-like creatures can be found. The deepest part in the ocean, named Challenger Deep, aka Mariana Trench, is 36,069 feet down. As I stated before, we have only explored 5% of our ocean, so it is very much possible that it can go deeper than this. In the early 2000s, a huge discovery was made by Mike DeGruy. He discovered a big underwater lake at the bottom of the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico. This discovery shocked everyone because how can there be a lake inside of a body of water? This pool of water is called a brine pool. It was nicknamed the Jacuzzi of Death because any creature that swims inside dies instantly due to the pool holding 5 times more salt than the waters around it, making it hard for any creature to survive in these salinity levels. Not too long after this discovery, Mike DeGruy passed away. Some people have conspiracy theories claiming that his major discoveries had something to do with his death, saying that the government didn't want the information he found to be exposed to the public.
To your ancient history, it says that we come from the sea. We have to understand that outer space is a big sea anyway. And when you get to the Bible, talk about how he separated the waters from the waters, and he called the waters above the heavens, or the Hashemayim, and then he called the waters below the seas. So we have to understand that in order to even get outer space, you got to go inner space, which is going into the sea. We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of creatures and species that we have never came into contact with.
Wow.
Thousands, and then, they haven't even been to the bottom of the ocean.
How deep do you feel like the bottom of the ocean is?
Man, miles and hundreds of miles, man. They be lying. Hundreds of miles. So for instance, it was a scientist that got killed. He got killed. Look this up. He went to the bottom of the ocean, and he went so far that he hit a part. He went in the ocean and found a lake in the ocean, a lake.
One of the most amazing things that I had ever seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming for Blue Planet. It was in the Gulf of Mexico. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. We went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Coincidentally, a few days after this aired on the television that he had made this discovery, when him and his friend were flying the helicopter, it exploded and he died.
and he couldn't even penetrate the lake. He took pictures of it and stuff, how he couldn't penetrate this lake, but he seen octopus and all type of things swimming in his lake, and he reported it to Congress, and he told the people about it. They ended up killing him. They've been at war with the seas for ages, y'all. They're not only at war with the heavens, because the heavens is the sea. Hashemayim, when you separate the waters from the water. So we have to understand that this whole concept of us going out of space and all of that is a big NASA lie. You know what I'm saying? If they're going, they're making intergalactic weapons. Now remember, it's water up there. It's a sea up there. So if potentially they're going at war with the sea.
In recent years, scientists have discovered huge underground oceans that are hidden underneath our planet 620 miles below the surface of the Earth. They hold 3 times as much water than the oceans on the surface of the Earth, and due to these oceans being so close to the Earth's core, scientists can't even wrap their head around what undiscovered creatures may be down there that can sustain these temperatures. It is said that space and the oceans are connected. There's a theory going around claiming that you can only get to Mars by going through the bottom of the ocean.
Just watch this real quick for me.
You get to Mars by going through the ocean. You can't get to the bottom of the ocean because outer space is the ocean.
Crazy, right? Now, I don't see much research about this theory, but I do know that ancient civilization believed that the oceans and the stars above were linked. If you really think about it, space and the oceans are really similar. In both places, you can't breathe, you can float. They both have pressures that are so intense your body can literally explode. Deep sea diving suits and space suits are extremely similar, and alien life is said to be in both places. No alien lives have been found in outer space as of yet, but there are a few terrifying alien-like creatures that have been found in the deepest parts of the ocean. One of the most oddest creatures found is called the Magnappina squid.
From the Atlantic to the Indian to the Pacific, if you live anywhere near an ocean, chances are you're not going to be too far off from one of the most fascinating squids in the deep, deep sea. These alien-like creatures have been mostly observed hovering around the 2 to 3 kilometer mark below the surface, dangling their absurdly long appendages. While most cephalopods have 8 short arms and 2 long tentacles, this guy's spaghetti strings are all the same length and virtually indistinguishable from one another. When fully extended, they can stretch up to 26 feet or more, but only a dozen or so individuals have ever been filmed, so really the true growth potential of the species is unknown. And to kick it up a notch even further, their arms have these eerie elbow-like bends that may help from getting them tangled, because when you're dragging your feely feelers along the sea floor and sifting prey out of the water, things can get a bit dicey. Well, if you'd like to know what exactly these animals are, the short and sweet answer is, we don't know. But there is a group.
And we can't forget about both places having mysterious black holes. For many years, people have said that time travel may be possible inside of the black holes that are formed in outer space, but no time travel in space have been reported as of yet. Oddly, in the last 200 years, 20 planes, 50 ships, and hundreds of people have vanished in a small area in the Atlantic Ocean. This part of the ocean is called the Bermuda Triangle or the Devil's Triangle. Scientists are still trying to figure out where the planes, ships, and people may have vanished to. It is possible they could have traveled in time or went to a different dimension, but as of now, it is still a mystery.
This stuff is kind of spooky if true. But wait, we're just getting started, because when you get to the 20th century, that's when the Bermuda Triangle as a mysterious body of water started to gain a lot of attention. In February 1918, one of the US Navy's largest ships, the USS Cyclops, was carrying 300 men from Salvador, Brazil to Baltimore, Maryland. The route goes right through the Bermuda Triangle, but the ship never arrived to Baltimore. Despite being able to, the Cyclops never sent out an SOS distress call. No wreck was ever found. As one article published a few years after the disappearance said, usually a wooden bucket or a cork life preserver identified as belonging to a lost ship is picked up after a wreck, but not so with the Cyclops. She just disappeared, as though some gigantic monster of the sea had grabbed her, men and all, and sent her into the depths of the ocean. In an official statement, the US Navy said that, quote, the disappearance of the ship has been one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals of the Navy. That's an official quote. Again, kind of spooky. Oh, and the Navy boats kept disappearing. In 1941, the USS Proteus, carrying 58 passengers and a bunch of metal, suddenly vanished within the Bermuda Triangle. And then 1 month later, another Navy ship disappears, 61 people on board, totally gone. But it wasn't until 1945 when people started to get really suspicious. This is when a bunch of World War II era planes were doing a 3-hour exercise over Grand Bahama Island, flying out and then pivoting back to their airbase back in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But these planes never returned, and the disappearances just kept happening. A long-haul flight with 25 people and 6 crew disappeared in the Triangle without a trace in 1948, and a year later it happened again to another plane of the exact same model. All in all, there have been over 70 mysterious disappearances here in this little patch of ocean, where all those years ago Columbus noticed something strange happening with his compass.
It makes so much more sense why NASA, the International Space Center, takes time to study not just space, but the oceans as well, because they are so closely related. Do you think the ocean can go deeper than the Mariana Trench, 36,069 feet? Let me know your thoughts about these insane discoveries in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.